name's Abby, and today we are going to be talking about tax cuts. Wouldn't you want to know if there was a way you could prevent having to pay even more in taxes than you already do? Of course you would. Keep watching and I'll tell you how exactly you can do that. Many people cringe at just the idea of having to pay taxes, but let me tell you, the only thing worse than having to pay your own taxes is watching people who have more than enough money get off easy. This issue begins with the corporations. These big corporations demand tax cuts, meaning they want to pay a much lower amount than the stated tax rate that the rest of America pays. This claim is that these tax cuts will benefit the corporations and allow them to be more competitive with international companies. Although this seems plausible, if you do the research, you will quickly realize that companies all over the world are being taxed similar rates to those in America. Pre-tax cut, that is. As well as this, American corporations alone make up about half of the money that all other global corporations make combined. With this knowledge, the idea of increasing competitivity goes away completely, bringing corporations' argument for tax cuts back to square one. The next layer to the argument, one that may appear a little less selfish, is that tax cuts would give corporations a little extra money, which would ideally be used to help people outside of the company. You would probably assume that the extra money would be donated to a charity or be used to raise the salaries of men and women within the corporation who are earning minimum wage. Instead of that, this money that is left over due to tax cuts is then used to raise the salaries of the CEOs and top executives of the corporations. Contrary to what it seems, these tax cuts would actually harm the people who need help the most. Tax cuts for corporations lead to increased tax rates for the rest of America. This harms the lower class directly, who has to give up even more of their much-needed salary in order to make up for what is not being paid by these corporations. Not only does it raise taxes for the rest of the population, but the money that is being saved by these corporations does not go to those who are in need, but rather right back to those at the top of the food chain. Unfortunately, tax cuts help nobody but the people at the top of the big corporations themselves. On the other side of the equation are the small businesses. Another assumption you might have would be that tax cuts would benefit small businesses as well as the big corporations, allowing for these smaller companies to flourish. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Nearly half of all small businesses are neither helped nor harmed by these tax cuts, while about a quarter state that tax cuts are one of the biggest obstacles for their businesses financially. In 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was signed, lowering corporate tax rates from 35% to 21%. The year after these tax cuts were made, a time that was supposed to consist of economic prosperity for everyone, instead did way more harm than good, dropping corporate revenues by 40%. Trump claimed that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would increase the average American household's income by $4,000, an effect that we still have not seen. Along with increased income, a large boom in investments was also promised. Contrary to this grand chain of events that was promised, there has been little to no change in business investments as well. What does this have to do with me, you may ask? As previously stated, these tax cuts harm all of us, and we need your support to help those who have been wronged. In order to undo these damaging laws, we must educate ourselves and fight for raised corporate tax rates. In order to learn more, visit www.brookings.edu, www.taxpolicycenter.org, or www.pgfp.org. And join us in the fight against corporate tax cuts. Thank you for watching, and always remember to stay informed. Stay informed, fight tax cuts.